Just before we get into this video, guys, if you want to follow me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, the links are here. And if you also want to support me on Patreon as well and help out my channel, that would be absolutely awesome as well. But let's get on with the video.
Okay, now we're getting into the top 5, which, for me, these are always changing. And I can't remember what I've got next.
I've got Series 2 next.
Ooh, okay, even though we have just discussed that.
Yeah, so I'm pretty...
Do you have anything different to say about Season 2?
No, pretty much what I've just said. You know, there's some good stuff in there. I love Rise of Cybermen, Age of Steel, I mean, Cyberman fanboy, of course, I love that. First sort of 2 episodes are pretty meh. Then you've got School Reunion, which...
Sarah Jane coming back was definitely a massive
That was a
plus.
turning point for me as a fan as well, because that made me knock over a bottle of Ribena. It also makes me want to go and watch the classic series, so there is that. So it introduced me to my favourite companion of all time, so I love it for that. K9 as well.
Yeah.
Episode 4.
Girl in the Fireplace.
Crap, don't like it.
Really?
Don't like it.
Oh, okay. I actually thought you liked Girl in the Fireplace.
No. Pretty one of the mill.
It is definitely Moffat's weakest of the
Russell series, yeah, not his own, Christ.
Yeah.
But
I think
I'd take 1,000 Girl in the Fireplaces above one Hellbent novel.
True. I think it does hold up rather well. It's still a fun story.
Again,
I
the Doctor's
don't
romantically invested, I don't like that.
That still doesn't make sense to me.
What?
Because at that point, obviously in School Reunion, you have that dynamic between him and Rose where it is quite clear that there is some kind of romantic investment between them.
I don't like that they sort of hint that there was with Sarah Jane as well. I can't
I
picture
didn't see there was.
No, there is a little bit.
I didn't see that.
No, because there is sort of like an ex-girlfriend jealous type thing, like, oh, you've got a younger model, that sort of thing. I get that vibe. But it's just weird imagining, like, the scarf, like, in a dungeon. That's a bit too far. But
Yeah.
I don't
Suddenly
like
having Madame de Prompto come into that episode and then have him, like, get as attached as he does doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And I don't really know. And you can see Rose is like, what?
Yeah, exactly. But then she can't really say shit because she's there like this, with Mickey there.
That's very true. Although I do like Mickey's transformation in Season 2.
Oh yeah, I do, yeah.
How he opens still as the comedic, kind of bumbling ex-boyfriend. And then by the end he's lock and loaded a machine gun, ready with the sphere opening, the Daleks coming out.
Yeah!
Which is still one of the best cliffhangers of New Who.
Say that is one of my favourite cliffhangers ever of all time.
Absolutely
all
fantastic.
All of Doctor Who, not just new series.
Yeah.
But like I say, Doomsday's garbage. I don't like it. I hate that emotional stuff, and it just ruins the Cybermen. Like the Daleks are too overpowered in that. Can we not see some Cybermen destroy at least a few Daleks? Like that should be a big showdown. It should be epic. It's not. It's not though. It's just one-sided.
I don't think they have the budget.
I don't fucking care. Oh, fucking state of it. Don't like it. Right, what's yours?
Okay. Again, I need to check because, as I said,
Well,
these change so much. I should say that I love like the next 5. I love them all equally. And again, I think it's going to surprise you. Series 4.
Series 4 that low?
I wouldn't say it's low. It's 5th.
Out of 10?
Out of 10? Yeah.
Fuck it. Right, why then? Before I kick off.
The thing is, there is no real reason. Like as I said,
Why is it there then?
No, I love them all equally. But compared to some other ones, I'll obviously explain why.
Please
There
do.
aren't the next 5. I don't have a lot of faults with. I think we've got through a lot of the seasons I consider to have like quite a bit of faults and cracks in them.
What's wrong
Season
with
4, I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with it per se.
Why is it 5th?
It's hard to rank because I love these other 5 so much.
You
I
haven't
do
said
hold them-
Series 6 yet.
No, I haven't.
Oh, get fucked.
But no, Season 4.
6 ahead of 4.
Season 4 is. I do love Season 4. I love Donna. And
Yeah.
I'm very happy that they brought her back because originally it wasn't going to be her.
Was it not?
No. In the Writer's Tale, do you know that book he did with Benjamin Cook? It was the emails between them both.
Yeah.
There was a good period of time where he was discussing bringing in somebody called Penny Carter, a journalist. She was originally going to be the companion for Season 4, just another complete newbie.
Alright.
Donna was never really brought into the equation anywhere in the early development of it.
Alright.
There are some sketches of Penny Carter in that book as well, having a fad walking past the TARDIS.
Alright.
I think in London somewhere. But I am glad that they brought Donna back because she is she's probably my second favourite companion of. No, actually, third of the new series for me.
Well, yeah, you like Amy a lot, don't you?
I do like Amy, but I don't think you'd guess who's the other one I got there.
Martha?
Don't know. But no, Season 4 has a lot of great episodes. Partners in Crime hasn't aged as well as
the
the
CGI
other ones.
rubbish in that, but I really like that one.
The storyline in itself with the adipose is very kind of like, okay, but it's the dynamic between the Doctor and Donna.
Not even a fact. I love that.
It's that dynamic that makes it work.
Yeah, I do.
And I think even in this,
That's what really boosts Series 4 for me.
In the weaker moments, you still have that dynamic that holds it all together.
Yeah.
And I love that relationship between them. Like in the beginning, so obviously with Rose, there was the romantic aspect. With Martha, she was into him, but obviously he was still hung up on Rose. I like that right out of the gate, she's like, we are mates.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're not mating with me, sunshine. Right off the bat, it's like, okay, they're like bros.
That's what it should be. That's what the Doctor-companion relationship should be.
And I love that. I like that we bring the Sontarans back.
A lot of people don't like the redesign.
I don't mind it.
I think
I do
it's the
prefer
blue.
the classic.
I think it's the blue. If it was black and silver, I don't think people would care.
Yeah. I think what's the Sontaran's name in the later seasons that we both despise? Strax. I was thinking Drax from Guardians. Yeah, but that story's very good. I love the Agatha Christie episode.
That is actually
Definitely a strength. And the final 3-part story with Turn Left, Stolen Earth, and Journey's End is also amazing.
I have issues with that now, but as a kid, I loved it. I absolutely adored it.
And then there's Midnight, which is probably one of Russell T Davies' best stories, with how contained it is and how claustrophobic and it is rather intense.
I don't love it as most people seem to do.
It's one of the sturdier stories that he's done, because obviously he has a tangent to have various different ideas cobbled together.
It's alright.
That don't always add up, but that seems like the more focused story that he'd done of that season, I think.
Yeah.
And it was nice to have one that just toned it down a bit and had like a self-contained like horror story in a sense that you'd probably expect from Moffat.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because Russell didn't tend to do the horror.
No, which was nice to see him kind of break out and do something that wasn't really comedic.
It's just a shame it's like the one time he did it.
I would have liked to see more horror story from Davis.
Yeah.
Although I think his introduction to the Autons in season 1 is still very creepy.
Oh yeah, but it's not like
it's
throughout
not
the entire episode.
It's not
whereas
like,
Midnight is very much a bit like a big horror story.
Yeah.
Right, what's fourth then?
Isn't it Auto now?
I'm letting you go first now. How can you forget?
Or in the moment, man. Like I said, they keep changing, so my head's just going through them all. Okay, season 1.
You put Series 6 out of Series 1.
Right then, there was a reason we wanted to hold off from telling each other our lists, because I knew that would be your reaction.
Get on with it.
Okay. Season 1 is definitely the more nostalgia-filled season for me. I love Christopher Eccleston. Obviously, we all wanted him to do more.
Yeah.
I love the whole 2-part story with Bad Wolf and Parting of the Ways. It's still probably in the top 3 strongest finales.
Yeah. It's my favourite of the new series.
Yeah. Everything about it works. Even though the Big Brother thing is kind of outdated now.
Oh, that is very dated. That entire story with them. I mean, like Trini and Susanna. Who the fuck are they now?
That's what I mean. It's a more nostalgic season for me.
Yeah, I don't think they really thought that through when it came to that. I
It
think they
has
should have
dated
made up
quite.
original game shows.
Yeah, although they did, but it was just in fleeting moments.
Yeah, it was just like a one-off throwaway line.
Yeah,
Or something.
obviously there are so many high points with, the first time we see a Dalek again.
Yes.
Well, for us, that was probably the first time we saw a Dalek.
Yeah, it would have been.
Which makes it all the more special. But then there are the downer episodes like the Slitheen stories.
Yeah, you see, they're underrated. See, everyone bangs on about them and says, oh, it's just farting aliens. It's more than that. If you take out the farting alien stuff, there's actually some really great moments. Boomtown, I actually prefer to the 2-part.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I love the scene in the restaurant where it's just like, oh, once in a while you'll let someone go. She's like, only a killer would know that. And it really just thinks, oh, who is this doctor then? And I like that. I really, really like that.
That's probably one of Russell T Davies' best realised scenes as well.
Yeah.
Because you have those moments like that, and the moments that she's trying to kill him in between.
Yeah.
And how he easily foils them.
Yeah.
It's like the breath thing, which she tries to kill him out when he's just got a spray.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just so subtle, but it works very well.
When she's running away and he's just like, and brings her back.
Yeah, that's still fun.
That was funny. I enjoy that.
And we do get all the scenes with Nikki and Rose as well, when Nikki kind of realises, I think I've lost it. But season 1, as I say, it's the more nostalgic season. And there are stories like Unquiet Dead, which I love and are incredibly underrated.
Yeah.
It's still one of Mark Gates' best stories.
Yeah.
Of his entire run as well.
Probably.
And I wish Christopher Eccleston would have come back to do more.
I don't, purely in terms of the way that they went with Rose, like the romance stuff.
Yeah,
It doesn't work for Eccleston's
really.
Doctor.
I think he mentioned that in an interview as well.
That's probably one of the reasons
I'm
why
not
he
sure.
left. I'm not 100% sure on that, but if that is the case, fair enough.
Yeah.
I get it.
It works with Tennant.
Does it?
But with...
Does it? Does it? I don't know.
I don't know. Overall, season 1 is very strong. I like how we're introduced to this new Doctor, and then to have him die at the end suddenly, it introduces the regeneration thing.
That
Before it's too late.
confused the hell out of me as a kid. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was like, is he teleported away?
Actually, at that point, because I remember, Rose was the first story I watched with my parents. I think once we got to the Slovene story, my dad realised that I was becoming a fan of this. He then introduced me to the Sea Devils and Curse of Paladin. So by that point, I knew about the regeneration. But it still made it hard to watch because at the time, Christopher Eccleston was my Doctor.
Well, yeah, you get attached to him, don't you?
Yeah, and I think that's the same for any Doctor Who fan that starts watching.
Well,
Every Doctor they begin with, when you see them go for the first time, it is very jarring. You're like, oh.
I mean, as low as I think of him now, I was like that very much with Tennant because I was so accustomed to seeing him as the Doctor. And even though I was watching the classics at this point, like I obviously knew Tom Baker and Peter Davison and whoever, but I didn't really, at that time anyway, have an attachment because it was new Doctor Who that was coming out.
Yeah.
Like, I know that was new to me, but I already knew that they'd gone because I was sort of watching random stories.
Going back and forth.
Yeah, whereas I'm actually following the story in a linear way, so it affected me a lot more.
And The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances is still one of Moffat's best.
It is Moffat's best.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, really? The best from him?
Yeah, without question.
Interesting. Okay.
If you can write something that scares me to the point where I can't watch it again for 2 years, you've done something right.
Yeah. Then again, you're not a horror fan, though, are you? At the same time, like you're not really.
I'm going to go with series 3 for 4.
Okay.
I just like it. I like Martha. I think she's wasted though a lot of the time.
Yeah.
She's a lovesick puppy. I think there's a lot of fun stories, and I think Tennant, he is burdened with Rose throughout this series a lot, and that holds it back. But the rest of it, I think it's the best. Like you say, it's the best version of the 10th Doctor.
Yeah, but they do drop the Rose thing after a point. Early on, it makes more sense for him to be hung up on her, but then by the time you get to, I like that they do have little nods to her, even to the point where you get to like Human Nature and Family of Blood.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's just like the little sketch in the like his dream journal.
Yeah.
Just like a little bits like that. But at the end, you kind of can tell that he has more or less moved on.
Pretty much. The thing is as well, one of the best fan moments I had as a kid, like I just mentioned, I was already watching the classics at this point. I think the story that I had seen was The Keeper of Traken, Legopolis and Castrovalva. It's like the trilogy where Tom Baker leaves, Davison comes in.
I haven't seen this.
It's very good. Well,
there's a lot I have to go back and watch.
Keeper of Traken's okay. Legopolis I love. Castrovalva, bit shit to me anyway. I know a lot of people like it. But anyway, it's the Master trilogy. So I was very aware of who the Master was. And around that time as well, I think that's when I was starting to watch some of the pertwee ones with the Master. So I was really falling in love with this character. And then I hear that John Sim is cast in the series, and I think that's great because I'm a Life on Mars fan as well. And then you get that moment at the end of Utopia where I think if you don't know who that character is, it's not as impactful. But because I was very aware of who the Master was, it was just like a, oh,
it has so much more meaning.
Yeah, it held so much more weight, and I love that. Utopia is just a flawless episode. Like it starts off so hopeful and optimistic, and everything goes to shit.
Yeah.
And I do love Sound of Drums as well. Last of the Time Lords, slight letdown because we saved everybody with prayer.
Yeah, slightly kind of some things and everything just goes back to normal.
Yeah, that's.
But obviously, but for them, it still happened.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well,
but but for everyone else, it's
I love the emotional thing where the Master just refuses to regenerate because he's like,
out of spite.
I'm not going to let you win.
Yeah.
Either way, you're losing me.
That's probably the best Master moment from the new new series.
Yeah, pretty much. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff. Well, I mean, there is some goods. I mean, there's the Dalek in Manhattan story.
I don't mind that. I think the whole pig slave thing is a bit like. That's not brilliant. The whole turning Dalek second to a human. I love the design, but I'm not.
It didn't work.
It doesn't land in the way I think they wanted it to.
No.
But overall, it's not a bad story. It doesn't. It's not as good as obviously what we get later on in the season.
True. Well, I mean, the Human Nature Family Blood, like you mentioned, that's a phenomenal story.
Yeah, and I will get into that later on down the line.
And what else is in this series as well? Blink. Overrated. Good, but overrated.
I was watching it again recently. I was like, yeah, still.
That's it. That was just good.
Are we in top 3?
Top 3. We're in the big top 3.
Okay. What's your third?
My number 1 is definite. 2 and 3, you can switch them around. So I'm going to cheat slightly. I'm going to say joint second.
Okay.
Because I don't really have a third. Like these two, I can't really separate, and it's 4 and 1.
Okay.
I mean, pretty much what we were saying before about Series 4. I mean, Tennant's Doctor is a bit of a caricature of his Doctor. But the stuff with Donna is great. Every story is good. There isn't a bad story in Series 4.
She does have the best development of the new
Companions.
Oh, does she though?
Yeah, no, I think she does. It's more well-rounded in terms of the family life as well.
Yeah.
It really adds, and they're likeable as well. Like Jackie can get really irritating sometimes.
Yeah. She didn't really grow as much. She more or less just stayed the comic relief.
Pretty much, yeah. But you've got Wilf, who is just brilliant. Who does? Oh, I forgot to mention Wilf. Exactly. Who doesn't love Wilf? Who doesn't like Wilf? And then you've got the mother as well, Sylvia, where she's a nightmare and she develops as well. Like, I love the bit where the doctor scolds her at the end. It's just like maybe you should tell her that then. I love that.
I know you don't like End of Time, but when Sylvia smiles at him at the end, it's like, oh, she's kind of. It's like how Jackie warmed to him. Yeah. In the end, I don't think Martha's mother ever did.
What is it? So there's Partners in Crime. There's
Eyes of Pompeii.
Yeah,
very fun. Planet of Views.
That's a very good one. Sontaran two-parter, very good. Doctor's Daughter, that's good. Unicorn and the Wasp, very good.
Silence of the Library.
Silence of the Library.
Forest of the Dead.
My favourite Tennant story.
And then the three-part finale.
Yeah, exactly. There isn't a single bad episode. I can get the argument for Journey's End being a bit too bloated, but it's still fun. I don't think
that they have 50 minutes.
Yeah, and I don't think they use Davros enough, but I can't really hold it against it really.
But it was still good.
I love it. It's flawless, pretty much. I just some moments are a bit. But overall, I think it's good, and I think that's when. I think I'm probably biased because this was like my peak interest in Doctor Who, so I was loving it the most around this time. So that's probably why. But then the Series 1 as well, which is like the joint one. That's just the first one. That's the one that introduced me to the show. And again, it's another.
Coming back to the whole, it's the more nostalgic.
Yeah, and I
season for the pair of us, I think.
And I just really appreciate how different Eccleston is to all of the Doctors. Like he is the damaged Doctor, and I love seeing that. And I really, like I mentioned before, the Empty Child Doctor dance is brilliant. Best series finale. The Dalek Emperor's back. Rose isn't irritating yet. Jack, we get Captain Jack, one of the best characters in Doctor Who in recent memory.
One story we didn't mention out of season 1, Father's Day. I think it's really underrated.
Very, very, very good story.
Because I think that was one of the few times that we actually got a lot of depth for Rose.
Yeah. You're right.
Because for most of the time she was just the girl that was in love with the Doctor.
Yeah.
But in Father's Day it actually made her a bit more well-rounded.
Gave her some emotional depth.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that.
And I like how they come back to that in Doomsday, where the parallel Pete and the normal Jackie meet, and she's just kind of, you can see it on her face where it has her.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have a lot of moments like that.
I really like the fact that in that story as well, the Doctor isn't really the one that saves the day either in Father's Day. No. He gets eaten by one of the things.
That fucked me up as a kid, that did. Holy shit.
Why? It's just a man in a leather jacket getting eaten by a demon.
By that point, I think it was Dalek where I was like, I fucking love this Doctor. Yeah. And then, because I saw...
10-year-old Dan was thinking, I fucking love him.
Fun fact, I wrote to Christopher Eccleston asking for a sonic screwdriver. Did he give me one? No.
Maybe it's in the post.
It's been 12 years.
Well, he's at
Comic... it's been longer now.
He's at Comic Con this year. Ask him.
I think it is 12 years.
Where the fuck's that then?
When he got... Because at that point I saw the Doctor as indestructible. Like, it was like, he's always the guy to save the day.
Yeah.
So the fact that it broke that taboo in a sense, like really early about having him get eaten, it was like, oh, what? It was scarring. You're like, I don't know who's going to save the day now. And we haven't really... Yeah, but as a kid...
Pete who?
As a kid, you're like, oh, the Doctor's gone. Yeah, you're fucked.
No, I really like that story. It's good. And
beautiful soundtrack as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel the need to mention Murray Gold as like the unsung hero of Doctor Who. Because
series 1
through 6, the soundtracks for them are absolutely beautiful.
Past that,
did get a bit still, but you still have absolute bangers like Shepherd's Boy and A Good Man.
I don't know these.
Not bangers, really. That's maybe the
wrong
word
to say,
choose.
Yeah, go to the club. I'm the Doctor.
Okay.
So you're third.
Okay, season 6. And I'm going to say
a stress ball.
And I'm going to say right off the bat,
get me a beer.
That I know it's not perfect.
And a knife.
But weirdly, it's probably the season that I admire the most.
Why?
It's at this point with season 5, which we will get into. It's still the Doctor Who show that we know. I think that was Moffat at his most ambitious. I love all the idea. I love how it's the most cinematic season. I just love all, like even the imagery, like the astronaut on the beach.
Oh yeah,
at the end, executing the
Well,
Doctor.
that's the one story that I really love.
Yeah,
then I do love closing time.
Yeah. Okay. If we're going to get the negatives out of the way first, let's kill Hitler. and
Even
Closing
the
Time.
name. The name of a Doctor Who episode was Let's Kill Hitler.
Let's Kill Hitler and Closing Time are definitely absolute duds. I don't. Nah. But then, I love the introduction with Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon.
Yeah,
I think that's a great way to kick off the series. Neil Gaiman's story, the Doctor's wife, I think is absolutely fantastic.
I'm lukewarm on it.
The scene with Matt Smith at the end saying goodbye to the human version of the TARDIS, I think is really sweet. And I love how, because Matt Smith is definitely the most childish Doctor, but I love those moments where it can suddenly turn and then he can be incredibly emotional. And
he's definitely an old man in a young man's body.
In a sense he becomes really delicate.
Yeah.
And I love how he's just kind of stood there like that and he just kind of sniffs and tries to get over it. It's like, right, just pick it up and move on.
Yeah.
And I know we don't really see that much with him. I know we get that bit in Trends a lot where he kind of breaks down a bit. But that's why Matt Smith's my favourite.
Yeah, he does balance a lot of the main aspects you want in a Doctor. And
he always manages it flawlessly. Good Man Goes to War is an incredibly fun episode. I love the scale of it when Rory walks into that room, asks, "Where's my wife?" The ships blow up in the background. He's like, "Do you want me to repeat the question?" Yeah, it reaches that level where it's like, this is the most cinematic season of Doctor Who, and I don't think we've gone back to that since.
I think that's a problem.
Really?
I think the charm of Doctor Who is that it's a bit naff. When it looks good and it's polished, it just feels wrong. The sets should wobble. It should be overlit. Some of the actors should be a bit crap. The monsters should look a bit hokey. That's what I love about it. The fact it was so flawless. It was almost too perfect. Okay. It was almost like a room of executives
like it
came
lost
together.
that raw aspect.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's charm, and that's why I think it is, to me, a bit dull.
Interesting.
And it is a bit too convoluted. Like I couldn't really.
I can agree with it is slightly convoluted, but I just love Moffat's bombastic ambition with it. Going back, I know you don't like the God Complex.
I don't mind it.
Coming back to Midnight, a self-contained horror story. There are elements of like The Shining in a sense with the Overlook Hotel. Yeah, and the girl who waited. The moment with Rory in the TARDIS, and you have old Amy trying to come in, and then and how because Matt Smith didn't have many dark moments, but I love how he puts Rory's hand on the lock, and then Rory says, "This isn't fair. You're turning me into you." I think that's a great moment for Rory, and it's where the Doctor kind of steps back and looks at himself as well.
One thing I will really say is a good thing for Series 6 is the development of Rory.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that he's not just some stupid henpecked husband. I do like the fact that he can stand on his own 2 feet as well.
Because I wasn't a fan of him to begin with in 5.
I didn't mind him.
But I, as you said, in 6 he does get his time to kind of develop and become his own character.
I like that.
But then the finale comes round. The Wedding of River Song.
Garbage. Trains coming out of pyramids, the Doctor has a beard, Churchill's there. It's too fucking much.
I have an unabashed love for that story.
Oh my god.
And I don't know how many will agree. I don't know how many will agree, but there is something about it. It's not a conventional finale in which all our heroes are together and they're working it out. I like how it starts off and everyone is all over the place. But I love the element of time coming together in one. Yes, it is messy, and yes, it is all over the place. But again, that is the point, because time has literally sandwiched together into this big clusterfuck of stuff. Just happening on screen, with like trains going through shit, and like cars on going up style with the balloons, and then pterodactyls eating children in the park. That was kind of fun. I love the
BBC, if you're watching, you know you have quotes from reviewers. Series 6 re-release, that exact quote.
But I love that they brought back the Silence, because I do love them as villains. I prefer them over the Weeping Angels.
Yeah, there's more you can do with them.
Yeah, I just love the aesthetic of them. They do look really cool.
What do you mean you brought back the Silence? They started in Series 6.
No, like they weren't just...
they brought them back again?
Yeah, they weren't just one-time villains for the opening. Yeah. Like, they actually did more with them. And I love the shot where the Doctor and Church look together and then they see all the
marks,
they have been eating, and they look up and there's just like a nest on the ceiling and they're all there just looking at them. I thought that was cool.
It has its moments, but it just... No.
I know when Amy and Rory finally come back, I think like Amy forgetting Rory again, we're like, we've done that enough now, we don't really need that. But I love where the Doctor marries River. I do love that scene where he's like, where she's like, I don't want you to die knowing that you are unloved, essentially, and by no one more than me. And he's like so concerned that he has to die, but she's there in his corner the whole time.
Yeah.
And I do love that moment, even though there is a slight problem with it though. When he says, when he says, I've just told you my name.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously he didn't. because he said, "Look into my eye," and then you have it zooms in, and you have the little doctor there, and that one was just an android.
Yeah.
I think that was an easy way out. It still works for me, but then we still don't know how River actually does know his name, unless he murmured it within that same breath. Who knows? Or if it was just something that happened, maybe on
the Capaldi
on
thing.
Beryllium.
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe that was when he did it, and Moffat's just letting us decide. But for the most part, I just love the ambition of 6. I love how cinematic it is, and yeah. I think it is underrated.
There's one more thing about Series 6 that I don't like, and it isn't necessarily Series 6's fault, it's just what Series 6 started, and that's the trend of you have to kill off the Doctor, or tease that you're going to kill off the Doctor every single year, because they do that every single series. Actually.
One thing that kind of worked with that, though, obviously...
It works in 6, it doesn't work again.
Because he reuses that story in Season 9.
Yeah, the confession
in the beginning.
trial. And
yeah, it's like, oh, we've kind of been there before. But at the time, that was his last regeneration.
True.
With Matt Smith, so
yeah,
by
but
having
Moffat
that story,
didn't know that though.
Did he not? Was that not planned out?
No, of course it wasn't planned out. He made it up as he went along.
Well, yeah, true. Maybe. But still, as that was the last one, it was like fans could think, okay, this is supposedly his last one.
Yeah, but we didn't know that until Matt's last one.
Oh, was that when the?
Yeah, but that also doesn't work because he regenerates at the start of the Impossible Astronaut.
True. Also, how can a robot regenerate? Well, maybe that was the human Doctor, and then he went back and fixed it and swapped it with an android.
Moffat, man.
Yeah, best not to think about it too much, really.
No.
Moving on.
Right, what's your number 2 then? Whilst you're breaking the chair. Or just leave it. Just watch him collapse now.
Yeah, and second place for me is Season 3.
I forgot that you hadn't said that yet.
Yeah,
I didn't realise it'd be so high up.
I love it. To be fair, I was thinking about this today. I was like, I have a lot more love for that season than I think. There is just a certain warmth I have to it. I love Martha. I love how she starts as
sort of a lovesick puppy.
Yeah, she's following the Doctor around. She's not quite happy that he keeps bringing up Rose. The scene with them in bed in the Shakespeare Code, and then she's like, you can tell she's kind of happy about it. She's buzzing. She's like, oh, yeah, this is moving quite nicely. And then he's like, Rose would know. She's like, dig. At the end, how he says, oh, off we go then, where to next? And then she kind of realises, no, I'm not going to be that person anymore to you, just a replacement. And then she just leaves him on her own free will. Because I also like how there's not some big emotional ending for a character. She's just like, yeah, I'm done. I'm just going to step away now.
I'm glad with that as well, because it's sort of... The Doctor was in the wrong the entire series, and I'm glad she put him in his place.
She was so...
That needed to happen.
Underappreciated by him.
And I love Jack coming back
think.
as well. And it was nice to see Jack with another Doctor. So I like seeing companions with multiple Doctors. Like Sarah Jane's done it, of course. Mel's another one. Adric's another one.
Yeah.
Tegan as well. I just love seeing Doctors.
It was nice bringing Jack back.
Yeah, it was a nice welcome addition.
It has my favourite opening from Russell T Davies.
Smith and Jones.
Smith and Jones, yeah.
That is it. I do like that
My
one.
favourite one. I think the Jadoon didn't really have... They didn't come back as much as they thought they could have.
Yeah.
But my favourite story in all of New Who is Human Nature and Family of Blood.
That's a great one.
I absolutely love that story so much, and to me that is like the definitive David Tennant story. Because his Doctor, I think we have discussed this, his Doctor always felt the most human of all the Doctors. And I think that maybe was in part because of Rose.
I was just going to say that I don't think that story works with any other Doctor.
No, it was just him. And I just love that story so much. I love the relationship with Nurse Joan Redfern. I love how that comes to actually really kind of like tragic ending. But again with Martha, being underappreciated, like being the one to kind of keep it in check the whole time. And I think he did appreciate her to a certain extent, but I don't think he gave her enough attention as he did maybe like Donna or Rose. No. She very much was just the one to help pick him back up off the floor, essentially.
Yeah, she was just a stopgap.
Yeah, but I love that shot with Nurse Joan Redfern at the end with the journal.
Oh yes.
When he comes back as the Doctor and says she can come with me, and she's like, if the Doctor hadn't chose this place, would anybody have died?
Yeah, I love that.
And he looks at her and because he knows that she's right.
Yeah.
And then how he just leaves and then she just holds the diary.
It's definitely when Davis hit his stride.
Yeah, that was the best of Tennant.
Yeah,
I think even though like the Lazarus experiment's a bit.
I mean, I do prefer 4, like I say, but I get everything that you're saying about 4.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, so that's our list so far, and I'm pretty sure that we both have the same number 1, considering we haven't mentioned this series yet, and it's obviously Series 5.
It's almost kind of fitting that our least favourite and favourite are the same.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because Season 5 was definitely Moffat's best. It was the more straightforward of Moffat's, I'd say. But I love Amy Pond. I know not a lot
I
of
don't
people
like
do.
her as much as you do, but I do like her.
I don't like her trying to kiss the Doctor at the end
No.
of Flesh and Stone. Don't think that particularly works. But I love the whole, because the Russell T Davies stuff, it was like kitchen sink drama, very, very human. It was more of a drama than a sci-fi show. But then
Moffat turned
brought
it into a fairy tale.
Yeah, more fairy tale, sci-fi fantasy, and I do like that. And I think The Crack in the Wall is my favourite ongoing story.
Yeah, that actually worked. I don't
Yeah.
think any of the other sort of story arcs worked as well as that one. Even in Russell's era, I don't think it did.
It was the most well realised, and I love how it all comes together in Stonehenge and how they all collide there. And again, that has a very big bombastic ending with the Doctor
but
getting in
it
the
works.
Pandorica.
I like that a lot. I
Yeah.
like the fact that it's got. I mean, I don't love it, but I do like the idea that the Doctor's been doing this for so long now that he's caused so much havoc. Really.
Mm.
I mean, rightly so, or wrongly so, depending on which side of the spectrum you're on. But all these villains are just like, we hate him, right? Fuck him. Lock him up.
That is one of like the best cliffhangers as well. Trapping the Doctor.
Perfect summary of that, by the way.
Trapping the Doctor in the Pandorica was a great way to end it.
I just like
Even
the way
though
that.
Big Bang does get a tad bit convoluted sometimes.
Yeah, it does.
And I do like the end where Amy remembers the Doctor in her wedding.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
And then
how
she
he
gets her
comes
parents back, and
Yeah, and then fucks off immediately afterwards.
yeah. I love the dance.
Good old Amy Pond. Yeah, but my favourite, I was thinking about this because I think we were discussing like what our favourite episode is of season 5, and I was caught between 4. Pandora opens with Big Bang, 11th hour, but my favourite's got to be Vincent and the Doctor.
Yeah, that's easily one of the
Yeah.
most emotional and heartfelt.
Even though Human Nature and Family Wood is my favourite story, my favourite standalone moment in New Who is
Where
when he takes
him back
Van
to the
Gogh
museum, yeah.
to the gallery to look at how much of an
Gallery,
impact he made. And I love Van Gogh's reaction as Bill Nighy's doing that speech, how he's like the greatest artist. I don't think we've really had many moments like that.
No, and it's a
Again.
shame. But then again, you can't really replicate that. That really is like
Yeah.
a one-off type thing. But
Again,
what-
Richard Curtis wrote
Yeah.
one episode.
But what I love about that is that it's like we were talking before about how on the nose the Zygon one was.
Yeah.
This is obviously a metaphor for depression.
Yeah.
But
the
it
Invisible
handles it.
Monster being the representation for his mental illness is very well handled.
Exactly. It's not too much. It doesn't
Yeah.
detract from the story. It's not like, oh, that's obviously what
It
we're
has
doing
its
now.
place. It's not beating you on the head with it
No,
repeatedly.
It's just enough, and I really like. Even if it is a weird CGI chicken thing.
Yeah.
But you know,
We'll go with it.
Yeah.
We'll go with it because
Yeah.
the story in itself is so good,
yeah.
and it's written incredibly well. And I love the end where Amy goes back expecting change, and she's like, "Oh, we made an impact," but then realizes, no, sometimes you can't. And I think that was like the last time there was an episode that had that much of a punch at the end.
What I love about Series 5 is the fact that it was a change.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of the structure of the series, it was still a few episodes, then a two-parter, a few episodes, then a two-parter, blah, 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 blah. But it just felt so different. And at the time, I didn't think we needed a big, drastic change. But when you watch Series 5, you
We
think,
definitely
actually,
did.
yeah, and it works, and it's so refreshing. Like,
Yeah.
even the way it looked, a lot of people just didn't rate Matt Smith at all. Just like, well, he's unknown, he's too young, he looks weird, his
Yeah,
hair's
but-
stupid. And yeah,
I didn't really get any of those. Like,
I got it at the time. I got it at the time. I was
moments
one of them. His regeneration in End of Time is garbage. It's the awful first.
Yeah, true. Doesn't hold it as well. But I love.
It's flying away without noticing. Back off. He did it his own. He really, really did. And I love Matt Smith's portrayal of the Doctor. I
He's
think
still my favourite Doctor, like of all of them. With John Pertwee coming in a close second. Maybe that's why I'm so easy on season 6.
possibly.
Even though 7 is like quite,
Yeah.
thought out.
Yeah.
Even though Victory of the Daleks is a bit naff when you get to Spitfires in space.
Yeah.
For the most
Stopping
part,
Daleks with a jammy dodger. That's Britain for you.
don't mind it as much.
No.
But for the most part, season 5 is incredibly strong. It flows beautifully, and it works. And it was a great way for Moffat to start.
And this is
his
why
run.
people hate you, Moffat, because you gave us Series 5, which is pretty much the best series, as we're saying here, and yet you never did that again. So cheers for that, but thanks for Series 5 at least, but...
I still love 6.
Yeah, oh well, yeah. Yeah, but bring on Chibnall.
Moffat's run overall is
Poor.
it is good. I do like it. I think people will look back at it more fondly as time goes on.
I certainly will. So yeah, our lists weren't as different as I thought, actually.
Yeah, there was a lot that, considering how well we talked about this numerous times over numerous different beers, but
Always.
whiskies. Yeah, but no, some surprises in there. I didn't think you'd have certain ones where you did.
I don't get why Series 6 is so high for you, but there you go. Whatever.
We spent 5 minutes on it.
I don't care. I'm still not over it. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. But yeah, that is our rankings then of the new series of Doctor Who. So you can stop fucking asking now. I've done it. Finally, I've got around to it. I was waiting for this fella, the man. And in the comments below, let us know what your rankings of the new series are. What's your least favourite? What's your favourite? What do you think of our list? Who do you agree with more? Be nice, obviously. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it. Subscribe for more stuff. Follow me on social media and on Patreon or whatever. Follow the man as well. And yeah, what do I say next? If you do any of those things, I would love you forever. But until next time, guys, you take care of yourselves. Goodbye.